Hello, Sandra Champlain here. You may know me or you may not. I am the host of We Don't Die Radio and Shades of the Afterlife, now with over 600 hours of episodes, quite a bit. I'm also the author of the book We Don't Die, A Skeptic's Discovery of Life After Death. And I sure am committed that people get the best information about the afterlife and how to communicate with their loved ones. And you may or may not be aware, but since April of 2020, my friends and I have been running online classes. Our incredible tutors are Scott Milligan, Carrie McLeod, and Phil Dykes. But for the month of March 2024, Carrie and Phil will be in New Zealand and Australia. So they won't be able to participate and teach our medium classes. In fact, if you want to see them, you can go on a trip there, of course. Go to mymediumship.com and click on live events. You can take a course with them or attend a medium demonstration. But while they're gone, their good friends and my good friends, Kath and Mitch Shirley, are going to be teaching our Wednesday and Thursday classes. So I thought today we'd just do an informal chat with them to find out what the classes are. One is the structure of a psychic reading. And then one is the structure of a medium reading. And if you don't know, our psychic capacity is what we use for mediumship. So it's so important if you're brand new to this that you want to be involved in the psychic as well. So with that, have no fear if you want to join us live, or if you're just interested and you want to get the video replays, or maybe it's 2026 and you're watching this video, the video replays will still be available. I think the structure of both psychic and medium readings are important. So there's something you're going to use in the future, and it'd be good to keep in your personal library. So I've said enough. Let's meet Kath and Mitch. Hello, my friends.
Hello, Sandra.
How are you?
I'm great. All is well in my world. I thought we could meet you guys because some people have been in our classes, some are interested, but it's nice to meet the tutors and find out that you're real people. And I would love to know a little bit, like, where do you guys live? How long have you been in the world of afterlife mediumship? Just introduce yourself if you would.
Okay.
Well,
I'm Kath, and obviously you're Mitch.
I believe I'm Mitch.
Yes. And we live in a place called Cheadle in Staffordshire, which is in the middle of the UK. And we've been involved in spiritualism for many years, both of us practicing mediums since our 20s.
Late 20s. So,
We're not in our late 20s anymore. And we had our baptism of fire many, many moons ago with Mr. Paul Jacobs. He's to blame if you want to blame anybody. And the things that he taught us, and understanding the differences between mediumship and psychic work, has stayed with us from those days, from when Paul used to explain everything to us. And I think it's important that people understand that when they're working with their psychic ability, that it is just as useful. Psychic is sometimes a dirty word, but we have to have that ability to be able to use our mediumistic ability. So the two go hand in hand. Would you like to add it?
Yeah, I was just going to say the important thing of actually, if you do study on both aspects, is to understand where the information is coming from. And so by actually working with your psychic faculty and understanding how that is working, and then also working in feeling and the sensing and all the different ways that the information actually, and the different types of information that you can get, because often people dismiss because it's relevant, something that might be relevant to them. And particularly when you're working with the spirit world, they will use whatever they can in whatever way, if you're prepared to work with it and to give that information. And that's a very important aspect of it, is actually freeing yourself to be prepared to make mistakes, because ultimately that's how we learn. And then understanding, if you're working with both aspects, you can understand the different feelings, the sensations, the awareness, and all of those things that complement one another, so that you can work in both ways, but understand and be truthful with who you're working with, or if you're doing a sit-in or a demonstration. You yourself know, you understand where the information is coming from. And for me, that's fundamental to trusting and being prepared to give whatever and however that information comes. So then we don't restrict. One of the hardest things, as in most things in life, is taking us out of it, taking our opinion out of it.
It's true. I know Carrie and Phil teach. They always show like a piece of a pie, a whole pie. And that's our psychic faculty. And we live in 2024 now, and people they want to get rich quick. They want to get skinny quick. They want to learn mediumship quick. It's all that. Give it to me. Let me pay what I need to pay and give it to me in 6 weeks. So you don't get it all, the whole world. So that psychic faculty, that big pie, mediumship is a piece of that. So for anyone that signs up, and I'm not blasting any other tutors, but you can't get it all in a short time. This is a commitment that you make with your soul to learn. But, oh, poor Kath's coughing.
Yeah,
but to have those experiences are just so valid and so worthwhile.
And the key factor is, so many times with the different students that we've worked with over the years, people often dismiss what they're aware of because they have preconceived ideas. It's about being able to test the information that you have and work out then, what am I getting that's on the psychic level? What am I getting within my mediumship? Oh no, I think we might have a life example of how to communicate with the dead.
Poor Kath is on the verge of a cough. If you're listening to this, she has to keep getting up. The poor thing.
Well, it was typical. She's been fine for
how it works. Murphy's Law.
Yeah, it's wonderful when you can also be assisted as well. That's a crucial factor, to help people to work through what they might feel as an obstacle, but actually realizing it's actually an opportunity, and it's instilling confidence as well.
Absolutely.
That's often a big factor for all of us, and especially when we start something new, we need that little bit of confidence. And she's back.
I know that our classes, they're each 6 sessions. They're 2 hours each, video replay included. There is instruction, of course. You guys are longtime tutors as well as mediums. But there's also these things called breakout rooms. And I think a lot of people panic thinking they already have to be perfect when they go into the breakout room. And you practice with someone on Zoom. And could you just talk a little bit about that and rest people's minds that the idea is not to be perfect?
No, none of us are perfect anyway. But, excuse me, I've had this all week. Mitch, you're going to have to do it. I'm sorry, Sandra.
No, it's okay.
So, the benefit of a breakout room is, if you were doing it actually in person, physically everybody within the same area, you've then got to try and find quiet little spaces or corners of a room to be able to work. With a breakout room, you get that opportunity to work one-to-one. It is far more intimate, and within that, it helps you to actually get things wrong, but also you're working with somebody who understands, because they're in the same situation as you. And because you have people who understand what's going on, it makes all the difference, because you're not then competing with somebody. And often that people gauge themselves against others in all aspects of life. But in reality, and especially where mediumship is concerned, it's a personal journey. And you need to have those opportunities to work on things, to test things. I think we may give you a different way than what you may have been aware of and been trying to make to work. But you need the opportunity to be able to test that, and then actually find out how that works for you. Because the foundation, and this understanding the psychic and also working on your mediumship and understanding your mediumship, is a foundation of how you can and will work as you develop. And what's also important for people is that there is continuous development. even as mediums, for us, I think it's about 27 years that I've been taking services and doing public demonstrations and private sittings and things like that. Because of that time, I need to develop. Be boring the pants off myself if I was giving exactly the same information in the same way. Yeah, I'd be asleep because it would be the same. And that's the beauty, that every time that you work, it's different. And there's no set formula, but there's a structure. And it's being comfortable working within that structure that you as an individual create. So when you're working in that breakout room, you have an opportunity to work one-to-one with that person. You haven't got to worry about all the distractions. You're in there and the two of you are sharing and giving to each other. And that's why it helps and makes the experience of working, whether it's on the psychic level or whether it's working with mediumship and working with those, the discarded spirit, it's important that you have that opportunity. Because if you were to do it in front of however many, and even on Zoom, so many people in the beginning will be like, oh, I don't feel comfortable. So straight away you're restricting yourself. And what a breakout room does is give you the opportunity to free yourself because you're working with one person.
You can call it being excited too. I remember the first medium training I ever had. The first exercise we did, the instructor told us we weren't really doing it, but to use our imagination and make up, there was somebody with the person we were working with. And Mitch, I know Kath's in the background there. I got every bit of information correct, names, details, what the person did for work, because I was free thinking I was making it up. And of course I was shocked and I couldn't believe it. And that feeling of a person working with us or picking up things psychically it's a good feeling. But then when I was told I had to do it, my nerves kicked in. I was afraid and it felt like it shut it off. So I just welcome everyone. Be willing to be wrong, be excited, and you're exploring how your own the soul communication works. And it's really pretty darn cool.
I think one of the things that people need to recognize as well is that people who they greatly respect as mediums and see them work, there will be times when the recipient may say no. And that's an opportunity then for the medium to actually go back to that piece of information, what they're aware of. And oftentimes they go, you're saying no to me, but I know it's right because they give me X, Y, and Z. So even though you get the no, you get that opportunity to reinforce it for the medium, which then provides proof for the recipient. But also, you can also go back and go, okay, I was like 97% there. If I just tweak it that little bit, and do you understand as if I'd say this? And it's such a small difference. And often the person, oh, so, yeah, I understand that. And that's what it's about. It's about realizing that you can't always get it 100% right every single time. And in reality, if we look at it, wouldn't life be boring if everything somebody said, oh, yes, this, yeah, and it's always right. I enjoy, and even myself in a sick way, I like to sometimes when they're in that challenge and go, okay, I'm going to prove to myself now and also to you as the recipient that I am working with the spirit world because I'm able to work with that information and establish and clean it up maybe sometimes that little bit and just take a little bit off and then it's yes. But also we have to remember we're working with people's memories as well.
That's right. And everyone is welcome to join these classes. You don't have to be somebody who has a dream of being a medium. It's just people who want to exercise that part of them and see what this is.
That's right. Absolutely. Sometimes those who have the least amount of ambition or whatever you call it or understanding are the best students in one sense because they have no inkling about what they're capable of. And so it's a great surprise to them. So I think to be open-minded is perhaps the best attitude to have and to learn, to want to learn, because Mitch said, none of us can be perfect. We never are. None of us are 100% correct all of the time, and no matter what we do in this life. But look at it like this. If there was something else, say you wanted to be the best baker in the world, there would be challenges. There would be lots of fun. There would be lots of laughs and giggles along the way. And there would be lots of experiences that you would share with people, just you and another, or just you and a group of people. And you're going to be friends with those people more than likely for many, many years. This is what happens in these kinds of groups, because there is this understanding that we want to learn and we want to do it to the best of our abilities and learn well and see where it goes, see what happens. And it's often a great surprise to the recipients. And they go away feeling, gosh, I've really learned something there. I didn't know I was capable of that. I didn't know that. And also they learn things about themselves. So it's also about self-growth and development too. I feel it is anyway. When you have people coming to you for a psychic sitting, there's a way to approach that, and there's being mindful of somebody as the person who's doing the sitting or the reading. We always say mediums, don't we? But as the psychic doing the reading, you've got to be mindful of the person sitting in front of you. And as a person coming for that reading, you've got to be mindful of what you're going to meet and who you're going to meet and what they're going to say, and be open-minded. So it works both ways, don't you feel?
I do feel that way. And I just want to talk a little bit about that, because it's called the structure of a psychic reading, the structure of a medium reading. And it seems obvious, but maybe not, that there's a certain way or preferred way to enter into that relationship with the person sitting. And could you just talk about, just, you don't have to go through the whole structure by any means, but what people can expect to learn? Because I think having that structure is something that everyone should know and refer back to in their future.
Yeah, I think one of the key parts of it is the fact of understanding and learning how to work with different things as well, particularly on a psychic level, because there are all the different aspects, the different tools that are available to people. Lots of people will know, obviously, the tarot cards or angel cards and different cards. So people are comfortable using cards, but there's also colour, they're working with somebody's aura and understanding that structure, which is a whole subject on its own. You also have using the psychic ability with psychometry. It can be anything. We can leave an imprint, and we do leave an imprint on anything. And it's helping people. Yeah.
Will you be mentioning some of those things during the class?
Yeah. All these aspects will be brought in and actually highlighted and looked and giving people the foundations to that, so as that they can understand that they don't have to receive, as I said earlier, everything in a nice little box, and we have to have box 1, then box 2, and then box 3. And the fact of that everybody can work differently. But if you've got a foundation, your psychic and also within your mediumship, you've got that, and that then gives you something to go back to. If you get a no, or you get somebody who doesn't understand something, that you can go back to it and work with it again. Yeah.
And I think starting a psychic sitting, psychic reading, some readers will ask the question, what have you come for? But actually, if you're using your psychic abilities, you will be able to feel and sense what is going on for that person. Why do they want to come and see me in particular and have this reading on this day at this time? What is going on in their lives? And everything that's going on in our lives is all around us, and we can feel and sense what's going on for a person, delving deep into their soul, if you will. And I would also like to say that that's not a scary thing. And if people think, I don't want them to know this, or I don't want them to know what I did yesterday, or whatever, I do believe that we as living being souls can hide away things that we don't want others. We don't bear everything. We don't bear everything part of who we are. We do have an element of a privacy curtain, if you will. So there's no need to worry about that. And I think that approaching as a reader, courtesy to the person who's sitting with you, always being polite, never giving people things that they're going to worry about. I know that there are some that I've met personally in my lifetime who like to, oh, you must be careful of this and you must be careful of that. I don't believe Mitch does either buy into any of that. I think that psychic readings should be helpful, honest, useful to the person who's seeking that reading, so that it makes them think, it makes them go further and investigate more. It helps to answer questions that are leading on to something else in their lives. But never, ever have I personally, and I know Mitch hasn't, ever done anything that scared a person. So I don't want people to think that we would do anything like that either.
That's all in the structure and in the ethics. Does the same hold true for mediums, that medium readings, that there's structure to that as well?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And ultimately, when you're working continuously or you're doing a lot of private readings and that, you will have a mixture of the both. But it's about the honesty of as you work with somebody. But within your mediumship, there's so, I think I've seen and I've experienced, and I know Kath has, and I'm sure everybody will at some point, the good, bad, and indifferent of having that experience of a reading or sitting with a medium, and whether it's been on the psychic level or that, we've all experienced the different aspects. So the important factor is that when we have a closer understanding and a recognition of that structure, it actually brings peace to us as an individual. When you were saying earlier whether people not looking to work with a mediumship, but to understand that it's mediumship, that's how they're getting their information, especially when wanting to sit with their loved ones. But with the structure, when you look at mediumship, there's an element of your own energy, your own power, but also the biggest aspect is actually communicating with them. So many people don't think it's all, and we've often said if basically you're just getting them to stand in the corner and you're just looking at them. So it's not very polite, is it? Because if you just concentrate on talking about the physical appearance of somebody, you're only looking at them. As we know, if we look at somebody, but we can think, oh, well, they look really well dressed and everything else. But only when we actually truly work with our soul do we feel. And something inside us tells us, they seem a little bit sad. I don't know what it is, but I feel that and I sense that. And it's about understanding that when you're working with those who have passed from this earth, that they have all these feelings and emotions still. They are still part of our lives. And by developing and working to a structure, a framework, because that's the important thing. It's not as though you have to do, as we said, all this X, Y, and Z, but it's having this framework to be able to work to and have a structure around how you communicate that you can test. It's important. You can go away, you can test. And we know that if you work within the structure and you work and trust yourself as well as the communicator, you will have positive, profound results that can change you as a person.
Great words. Those in the spirit world, they're still living people and they still have personalities, like you said. And in addition, when you work with somebody in a breakout room, it's your loved ones that you're working with. They want it to be a success. So don't be surprised if your people come through in the privacy of that breakout room. I have friends and loved ones that have come through that they may not ever do that on a stage or in
a public
200-person Sunday gathering.
Yeah.
But they do within those readings.
Yeah, because it's a wonderful opportunity, isn't it?
It is. And when you think about it, working with the psychic level, working with the mediumistic abilities, it's quite a journey, isn't it? Especially for people who've never done it before, or if people have been away and come back and think, I want to see if I can do it. I want to see what it's like. I want to experience what happens and what takes place. And I know for me, I can think back to all those years ago, and it was so exciting to be on that journey, to think, I'm not on my own. Those loved ones still care for me, still watch over me, still are interested in what's going on in life. And I remember going to see a medium, and he said to me, oh, I'm aware of this, and this with me. And I thought, I'm not really interested in me. I just want to know where my grandfather was. I want to know what he's doing. And, what he said to me was quite profound, as Mitch said, that word profound. And it affected me forever. And that is the strength and the compassion behind mediumistic readings and psychic readings. They can make a massive difference to the reader and to the sitter as well. The knock-on effect is lifelong. It's just brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
And also, when you understand, if you then go to have a sitting, a reading with somebody, you can appreciate how that information may be coming to them. And also, for you, as you're working with it, it's about being honest with people and being able to say what I saw, what I felt, what I heard. And you understand then how the information comes through. And when you understand that, it gives you a greater appreciation of what the medium is trying to do for you and the effort that they go into. So it increases your own knowledge, it increases your own awareness. It also, both aspects can increase your joy in life, because it changes you as a person.
Gives you a different appreciation for things.
You understand more. And that's one of the big factors within mediumship and within the psychic faculty, is the fact that you have an opportunity to grow, to learn, and then you can then recognize for yourself within the mediums that you know and trust.
I wanted to give people just some of the times and dates and things like that. So the psychic class will be held on Wednesdays, starting the 28th of February, 2024, on Wednesdays. And then the medium, structure of medium reading, will be on Thursdays, starting with the 29th of February of 2024. All the classes start at 2 p.m. New York time. Why I'm saying this is because in that lovely month of March, the global clocks change. So there's a few weeks our friends in the UK normally sign in at 7. They're going to sign in at 6. So if you go to the website, wedon'tdie.com, you can either click on the store page or the at-home courses page. If you want to join one or more of our classes, we give you a discount. So that's at the at-home courses page at wedon'tdie.com. But the times are there, so you can write the times down for yourself. It will be the same Zoom link that you use for each one of the 6 classes, depending on if you do the psychic or medium. Yes, there will be breakout rooms included. And the thing is, every student will get the replay video. There's a student library that you will always have at your fingertips to refer back to. So even if you don't join these classes live and you just want to get this information, you will get it. Because I do know some people aren't available at those times. So we want to make it as user-friendly as possible. And one thing I feel very strongly about is having 100% satisfaction guarantee. If you're not happy for any reason, I know we've had a couple of people want their money back. One gentleman couldn't hear because of the hearing aids. Another one couldn't be with the live classes. But just to take away any fears, that we want you to be happy. So anyways, those are the basics. WeDon'tDie.com. Again, you can click on the store or the at-home courses page to find out more about it. And just a shout out to Kath and Mitch as well. Their website is thesoultrust.com. You can go there and find out more about them. And they are just amazing individuals. They're also both advanced grief recovery specialists. And it's not just with communicating with the afterlife. It is that profound understanding of grief. And often that's what brings us into wanting evidence of the afterlife. They are caring individuals. They are loving. They host the free monthly grief cafe for an hour and a half as well. The last week of each month, you can join that too. That's at WeDon'tDie.com. You'll find it, or thesoultrust.com. So I just want to turn back to you guys just for a moment. Any last words, pulling at those heartstrings, inviting people, come on, join us. They're cool people. They're fun. They care. I love them.
I would say if you're wondering, don't wonder. Just come onto the course and find out, because you won't know if you wonder, but you will know if you join.
Beautiful. Mitch?
But also, I would say the atmosphere that we like to generate and work in is one that's relaxed, it's friendly, but it's also truthful, and you will be helped when you need help, but you will be allowed to fly if you're flying. That's the important thing, because it works all roads. And sometimes you might find something a little bit difficult, and then the week later, everything just slots into place, and you're like, oh, and that's the beauty. It is a journey, but what we want to do is enable you to fly on your own.
Perfect words. And that's one of the reasons that I love working with Carrie and Phil as well. I've been with teachers and they're rough and tough and hard, and no, gentle, loving, encouraging. And I know you're good friends with Carrie and Phil, and that's why they chose you to do these, or asked you to do these classes. But yeah, we won't need to encourage people.
Sorry.
That's not your belly, right, Mitch?
No, that's the dog. That's it's typical.
I think it's great.
Isn't it great? This is home. This is our home life. It's just mad.
Yeah.
We've got an Alaskan Malamute who just wants to howl at the moment.
And if you're doing something, and she doesn't normally want to know you, but if you're doing something that she knows you need to pay attention to,
also get ready to meet her on the classes. Kath and Mitch, thanks again so much for taking the time to be with us.
Thank you, Sandra.
And those of you who are listening or watching right now, well, give it a try. I know we've got some longtime students that will be with you as well. It's always good to work with new tutors and things. So just go to WeDon'tDie.com, click on the store page or the at-home courses page. And again, if you want to find out more about Kath and Mitch, you can go to thesoultrust.com. This is Sandra Champlain signing off. Hope you can join us.